June 12th, 2014. I made a game called Caster's Trap. Looking back at it, I gotta say, as my first published game, it was pretty dang successful. Had 129 followers, 78 comments, over 12k views, and 31 likes, but by the way, this game was published before GameJolt converted to the like system, back in the days when you actually had to rate it out of 5 stars. I'm just saying. I think I lost a couple likes there. Also, hell yeah, frog. And hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of you guys who follow my channel is because I made Caster's Trap. And as a matter of fact, if any of you guys are still watching to this day, do let me know, because that is absolutely mind-blowing. 6 years later, and you're still following the TheOdie channel. But anyways, I gotta say, this game, as successful as it was, being my first game, it was pretty hot garbage. Fun fact, back in the days when I was advertising this game, I actually inboxed several YouTubers. About half of them actually got back to me, and RookiePlayGames was one of them, and I gotta say, I absolutely loved his commentary. It was absolutely hilarious and good stuff.
What do we got here? You can see webs and spiders. God, they're everywhere. The spider's red hourglass-like symbol on the abdomen stands out to me because it's murderous and it will bite me and my arm will fall off. It's silently rests above it.
And I'm not so sure if I said it on my game page or when I reached out to YouTubers, but my deal was that whoever finished uploading the full series of the game will have their video featured on the game page. RookiePlayGames was that person, and I'm so glad because his commentary was just really, really awesome throughout the series. Such a nice fella too. But here's the part where this game is pretty hot garbage. Cacto era? Listen. And it wasn't even just there. Like, even the dialogue in the game was a little bit quirky. Avoiding the chance of leaving spider eggs on your pants, you wipe your hand against the outer wall of the crate. Genius. Spider eggs on my pants. Hell no. Oh my god. Although you received a few splinters, received I before E, but after C, it's elementary. Look on the bright side. You managed to remove most of the spider eggs from your hand. And it didn't just stop there, but mind you, I was like a sophomore, maybe junior in college, and I was really getting into physics class, and I kind of just discarded my whole ability to do English.
Using your knee as a fulcrum, you pull the two boards and snaring the fragment to loosen it.
Who describes things like that? Using your knee as a fulcrum? What? There's something I never said. Throughout this whole entire time, having created Caster's Trap, up into this very video, there's something I've never admitted about this game. This game was never intended to be the game that it became. I've made several games in RPG Maker in the past, none of which I ever finished, because all of those games ended up being several hours in length of gameplay, and it was just barely scratching the surface. So I made this project to finally make a game that was less than an hour as my goal to produce something. And the intention of this was to just be an exploration type game, kind of like a walking simulator, but more so as like a horror secret simulator. And that's also kind of the reason why the game is so difficult. It wasn't until I'd say 2/3 of finishing this first floor map when I started considering turning it into a story instead. The original plan was to create a Ouija board down in the basement to kind of reveal the idea that someone was in this house before and they used the Ouija board to summon a ghost. But they never said goodbye to the ghost, so the ghost still haunts the cabin or the house, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, I found that to be a bit cliche, and I wanted to make a game that felt more original. So I thought about it and was like, you know what? there isn't a horror game that I know of where magic played a huge role in horror. Like, yes, there was the witch's house, and in a sense, witch magic, but at the same time, what I was really aiming for was like fantasy magic. And I'll admit, this doesn't exactly fit that description, but the fantasy portion here, and this game is 6 years old, so I don't mind spoiling it. At one point you meet a ghost, and when you find the right item, she tries to kill you. The item actually stops the ghost in her traps, and the ghost actually crystallizes. And what it was supposed to be was the girl freezes in ice and kind of just shatters. So going back to what I said, this game was really difficult because it was meant to be a game filled with secrets. And then it evolved to having a story with the Ouija board. And then it evolved again to have a different story using the idea of casters, which is the universe's version of having sorcerers and witches and so on. So years later, I did try to make sequels to Caster's Trap. And to be completely honest, the way I ended Caster's Trap was designed to have the potential of either sequels and eventually a prequel, which is what the secret ending was supposed to be about. But if you were to look at Caster's Trap by the game itself, it makes absolutely no sense. The secret ending just is like, the hell? Especially with how hard some of the items were attained. In a way, I kind of felt bad for people who actually really wanted to see that secret ending only to get what they got. But the real reason why nothing was ever developed was because I fell for the same trap again, where I made games that was way too long, and at the same time I was a student in college. But with all that said, there were some things that I really enjoyed out of Caster's Trap. I think one of the things I'm most proud of was with this ghost, where the moment she blows out the candle is to let you know that your candle can no longer work, and now the player has to go back to their very first item that they brought in, which was the flashlight. And when you use the flashlight, it will reveal pieces of the teddy bear, and your goal is to go through all these pieces of teddy bear to find a ring, but you don't actually progress until the ghost comes at you while you have the ring, and she'll explode into that ice particle. And I thought this was really cool.
Nope. I don't know. Shit. Oh, damn it. Oh, wait, did I win? Oh, okay. Oh, so I did it. We're gonna go ahead and save a new save file for just in case. Oh.
So I kind of see two sides of the coin with this one. One where the player is really impressed and everything kind of clicks and it all makes sense to them. While on the other side of the coin, they're like, oh my god, why didn't you just tell me, game? But I find that as one of the finer lines that as a developer I have to walk in between, to risk having, knowing that some players will be aggravated by it. Whereas if I can lead up to this moment well enough, then those who will let it click will just be mind blown and very impressed. Probably the most weirdest thing about this game is the fact that the timeline does not make sense whatsoever. Then again, we are in Cacto era, so nothing makes sense in the beginning. Am I right? So I wasn't making this video just to talk about Caster's Trap that I made about 6 years ago. The real reason I made this video is because I'm planning to remake this game. But I don't just plan to remake it, I plan to really perfect it for what it's supposed to be. I think that's the major thing that really held this game back. How it was originally intended to be a sort of horror simulator, but then it transformed into having a story. It's something I've considered for quite some time now. One cool thing about OneNote is that it dates the first time you create your note. And the original intention for this remake was to make it a standalone story, so I kind of revamped the idea to be about vampires. And I'll be honest with you, I still like this idea. I like it a lot. But at the same time, I also really enjoyed the story I created, the world, the universe I made for this game. So I took a pause, and I decided not to get back into this, because I really wanted to start concentrating on YouTube. But a year later, September 23rd, 2020, I decided, hell, I really want to remake Caster's Trap and remake it for the universe that it was intended. So I recreated this version. And this is not something that's going to be done in a month or even 2 months. This is something I really, truly want to dedicate myself into creating a game with the best experience that I can deliver. The most challenging of this will probably be creating the art and the music. As you guys know, that's something I've always struggled with in the past. But this is truly a passion project for me, and I really want to see where I can take it. Earlier this year, I created a couple games on RPG Maker, dabbled into Unity for a little bit, but I'm really coming back full circle to what I started, and creating games was honestly what I started with before the idea of YouTube. Older subscribers will know that I started RPG Maker back when I was like 10 years old. Very, very young age, had no idea what to do. But it wasn't until I was in 7th or 8th grade where I actually started making a game. Unfortunately, I don't think I have that anymore. I think I just scrapped it all together. Anyways, 2021's around the corner, and I really think that I'm gonna take game development seriously. If it means stopping on uploading Let's Plays for a while, then I may consider that. I've been doing Let's Plays for about 6 years now, but as I get older, I also find that my passion starts to reshift and change, and I don't know if me going back into game development is just a sign that I really, really want to do this, or if it's just out of nostalgia. And hell, I think there's only one way to really find out. Those who watch to the end, I guess you kind of got a spoiler for what I'm going to say in New Year's. It'll be some time before I update you guys on this again. Right now, I'm currently scripting everything, and I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's just the spice of life. You just gotta see until the time comes around. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Till the next one. Ta-ta!